Hey everybody, it's Maria. We're going to get started in about 30 seconds. I'm having a little problem with my camera, so I apologize. You're not going to see me today, but if you can't hear me, just pop me a little chat message to let me know that you're here. I'm just going to wait till we get right to the top of the hour. I hope everybody's having a great week. This is only going to be about less than 30 minutes. We're going to get right into the content today. I'm going to start. It's 10 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, and I know there's a few people are going to get on. So we're just going to jump right into it. Welcome, everybody. This is the Small Business Workshop that we have been doing every single week. Hang on a minute. I don't know what's going on here. Let's try this again. All right, there we go. All right, so we're going to get going. Let's see. I love it when things don't work as they're supposed to. So let's try it again. Let's see. All right. Yeah, it's not going to let me do this. What's going on here? Let's go to the top. There we go. Okay. Goal setting and paying it forward. So who am I? Most of you know me already. I'm a small business marketing strategist. My goal really is to help small businesses find treasure, and I'm going to explain that later. We do that by embracing digital media tools that are necessary to grow your business. This is a digital information economy. For those of you who are, 35 and up, you got to embrace that concept. Today, we're going to review our goal setting. I do that every single week. We're going to talk about marketplace disruption, and then we're going to get right into mapping your buyer's journey. It's a process. It takes a long time. Today, we're only going to go through the awareness of your business, your goals. And, even for, I know a couple of you on the call are not business owners, but for your career, the process actually works the same. So these are the key documents that we've been using since the beginning of the year. Core principles are essential. These are essential for any person who has a career and any person that has a business. You need to know your purpose and your vision and where you're going. You need to have a roadmap for your life and for your business. You can do it on one page, right? So if you're a business owner, you need to answer these 4 questions to these 8 topics. It's pretty simple. You don't need to hire anybody to do it. You can do it yourself. It's pretty easy. But this doesn't make any sense without core principles and values and what it is that you want to do and how you want to get there, and what are the tools that you need and what makes you unique, this bottom part, the USP. For everyone, we all have that. Each person on the call has it for their own career. So review that. Going through that goal setting process is important because you take all of these topics and you make big goals out of them, right? So if you're just a career changer and you want to start a business, that would be one of your big goals. And then you have lots of little goals and steps to get there. And it's very important that you understand that in order to do these little goals, these are the boring, horrible, day-to-day, week-to-week goals, you got to have a big goal in order to continue that process. Because if there's not a big goal there, it's not worth it. Some people keep jobs for a long time because there's money, but that's not really going to sustain you. It's not going to get you where you need to go. You need to use those core values that underlie these big goals, because that's what gets you from here to here, right? It's really important. What makes you remarkable as a person, as a business? What do you want to do? Why do you do it? And I like to think about, if I wasn't here, if I went away, what would that mean? And I always find that it's not good. And you need to know those reasons as well. So today we're going to talk about the buyer's journey. Sometimes it's called the engagement journey, the customer journey. There's lots of ways to describe it. If you were to Google, you'd find all sorts of different maps that people use to discuss it, whether they're in the hotel business or the car business, it's just sort of like starting and ending, right? It's linear. Awareness of the business, consideration and purchase. This process is a decision-making process right here, and we decide to buy it. And then there's a process where we're actually using it and experiencing the product. And then there's the ending result, which is the advocacy. A lot of them just have these first three because we think that here's the main goal. But I'm going to show you a little bit different. For me, the buyer's journey is not linear. It is circular. And it's not even like a real circle. You have buyers that consider and evaluate you, right? Then and based on what they decide, they're going to buy from you, right? Then they have to experience that. You have paperwork, they have to put it together, they have to do something, they have to show up every single week and with weights and make it work. And then based on that experience, they become an advocate for you. They give you a review. And I'm going to show you that this is not the end, right? Because you want these advocates to convince people to bond with you so that they don't have to do this. So they just go right to the buy part, right? They just need a little bit of information. They need to meet you, talk to you. So this is all the digital stuff that's out there. So that's why I like the circle. You can't just buy and move on, buy and move on. You're going to be constantly dumping money into marketing if that's the plan here. So you need to pay attention to that. So this is how I approach the buyer's journey. We are going to use a linear path to map it out, but it's always a circle. So why should you understand it? I talked about this a couple of weeks ago. Again, for anybody under 35, you don't even know what this thing is on the right-hand side. It's a yellow pages, right? It used to be so big that little kids could sit on it as a booster seat. We don't use that anymore because we now have the internet, and the internet has changed everything, right? The internet came 20 years ago, but it's not even the same as what it was 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 18 months ago. It's changed. It's disruptive. It changed the way we do business, and a lot of people are slow to change, and it's amazing if you look at the statistics how many small businesses are not even here yet. They still are in the yellow pages mindset. They may not advertise in the yellow pages, but they still operate their business as if they place an ad or put their name in one place that lots of people are going to find them. And that's just not the way that it is anymore. Digital marketing is here to stay, and it's only getting faster. So this divide right here is only getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and you need digital skills. You need to understand them. Whether you're a career person trying to get into any industry today, you need to understand digital marketing, digital tools. It's just the way that it is. So one goal of mapping out the buyer's journey is that you can map out your content, right? So content's that stuff that people read to go through that process to make a decision about you. They see you on Facebook, they see your ad, they go to your Instagram account, they get a direct mail piece from you, they go online, and that's how we make our decisions, right? And there's all this stuff, search engine optimization and our websites and all sorts of process. So by mapping out what your customers experience and their need is, you can get the content. So this can save you literally hundreds of thousands of dollars over the course of your business if you know what you need to write and where you need to put it, right? So this is a very important goal. Another goal is teamwork. So for any company that has employees, doing the buyer's journey allows you to include everyone. And in fact, it has to include everyone. Every single person needs to understand what your customer goes through from the time that they decide that they need what you have to the time that they tell somebody else about it. And that telling can be good or bad, right? So the packaging department is just as important to understand the customer as the marketing department who's writing all of this stuff. You cannot separate it. It's collaborative. So the great thing about mapping it out is you can engage your employees. And it doesn't matter if you have a preschool, if you're in a dental office, if you're a restaurant, if you're a traditional retailer, it really doesn't matter. You can incorporate everyone in this process. And again, it has a money-saving component to it, but more importantly than that, it allows your staff and your employees to be creative. And that's something that's really missing today. So it's collaborative. My main goal is to help small businesses find their treasure. And that seems logical, right? Some people say, well, Maria, my treasure is I want people to buy my stuff. I want them to come in. I want them to buy my food. I want them to get their teeth fixed with me. I want them to buy my art. I want them to get my furniture. I want them to do these gifts. I want them to work out. I want them to buy, right? That's the treasure. Well, that's not the treasure. This is the treasure. Advocacy. Advocacy is the ultimate treasure because it takes away the need to constantly find new customers, right? So just buying a product is not the real goal. You've got to circle around and you've got to get your customers loyal, and it opens up doors to lots of different things. So that's really important to me. And the way we do that is we start off with this worksheet. Now, at the beginning, there was the worksheet in the front, and it's actually 2 parts. But we're only going to go through the basics of these columns, because by going through each column in its entirety, you begin to understand a lot of things. You begin to understand who's buying from you, what they need, what types of content you have, what they have to have, what are the terms and things that Google needs. That's your search engine optimization, and basically what your customer is thinking. So you see those little bubbles in there? What do they think? What are they thinking when they need you? That is critical to understanding how you get them to buy, right? This is that one goal, but also how you get them to talk about you and like you. And it's really, really important. So this is what we're going to do today. We're just going to touch on this. And every week following, we're going to take a different column and we're going to kind of go through it, and then we'll wrap it all up once we get into March. So awareness. So this is the stage that buyers realize that they have a problem, right? You wake up, your tooth hurts, you say, I need a dentist, right? I got a problem, I need a solution for it. Or their shoe heel comes off. Now they have another problem. They find out they're going to have a baby. That opens up a myriad of problems that lead really through that till that child's, 18 years old. There's lots of new problems that come year after year after year. All of these things. So now you, as a buyer, know that you have a problem. So how do they become aware of the solutions that are out there, right? And it used to be that we would pick up the phone and we would call a trusted person in our life, our parents or our siblings or our best friend, and we'd say, hey, I need a good dentist. Can you refer me? And I'm not saying that we don't still do that. But even when we do that, we tend to turn it into a digital process. Because if my mom tells me, oh, go to Dr. So-and-so, I still have to look up Dr. So-and-so's name. I'm going to do a little research and a little homework on it. So even if it's human and personal that I become aware of you, I'm going to do my due diligence because that's the world that we live in. Some buyers don't even know that they need you, right? So think of this guy, he's, at his job or at home, and you notice that he's got a computer there. Mainly, he's probably on a cell phone. But for normal sake, we'll just say that he's using a traditional computer. And they have questions. And this is the part of the awareness that you need to think about. What are my buyers thinking? How are they becoming aware of me? And what's going through. So here's some common questions that I want to get you started. How do I know exactly what I need to solve this problem, right? It seems logical that we would know the answer. Tooth hurt, dentist, right? But maybe it's not that simple. Maybe this buyer already knows a lot about dentistry, and another person has insurance needs. And there's all sorts of dilemmas that we have in determining what exactly we need, where we live, what we have, what's in our bank account, what the time frame is. There's all sorts of questions that buyers have to determine what exactly they need. And for those of you that understand the yellow pages, if you remember, you'd go to a part in the yellow page, D for dentists, and then there'd be a whole list, and they would even break it down, pediatric dentists, or any kind of specialty that would be in there. So this is one question they ask: how do I know if I'm interested if I don't even know that you or your solution exist? And this is a very interesting question, because you don't know what you don't know. And the internet provides many opportunities for people to find you, to learn that maybe you have something that they need. You actually, by your very existence, can create a need for people. And that is truly the promise that the internet gave us 20 years ago. So 20 years ago, they said, hey, if you build a website, people will find you and they'll buy from you. Well, as you know, for those of you that know me, I believe that that's false, because what the internet created for most of us is competition. And as consumers, what it created is so much choice, we just cannot make up our minds about things. But this addresses an interesting thing for those people who surf the internet, right? And we all do it. How do I know I'm interested if I don't even know that you're there, if I don't know that your solution exists? So maybe I have a headache when I wake up, and all day long it's plaguing me. And then as I'm surfing around, I find your blog on headaches and toothaches. Oh, could I have a tooth problem? Boom. Now I'm aware. Now I realize I have a problem, and you are a solution. So that can set you off. So that's what people think about. Another thing is, who can refer me to the solution so I can save time, right? So we started off that way. I called my mom and I said, hey, I need a dentist. Can you help me? But today, things don't always work that way. First of all, we're not calling people, we're texting them. And also, referral is a misnomer. It's not really a true thing. So no matter what people say to me, Maria, all of our business comes from referrals. We have very happy parents, and they refer other happy parents in the neighborhood. Really? How do you know that? How do you know that somebody came to you just because they said, somebody referred me to you? I want to tell you what Google says, because Google knows everything. 88% of consumers trust online reviews as much as personal recommendations. So online reviews is a loaded statement. It could be a blog, it could be an article, it could be a post, it could be lots of different types of content that lead a person to trust you. And we trust our digital world as much as we trust our human world. And in many cases, we trust the digital world more. For the restaurateurs, they know this very true, right? So I have people all the time saying, hey, Maria, I know this great restaurant. You should check it out. I love it. It's my favorite place, right? Oh, of course I'm going to check it out, because they're my buddy. They're my friend. But am I going to trust that without doing my own homework? We don't do that anymore. So referrals are people, are digital, are sites that refer us places. So if you're looking for daycare, we go to daycare referral sites, right? We go to dentist referral sites, lawyer referral sites. We do that. And we trust those things just as much as if a person that we know. So keep that in mind in your awareness process. This is where it starts. We go to Google. For those of you who are Bing lovers, you go there. I have a Mac and I don't use Safari. I still use Google. I like it a lot. We go in and we're typing something in there. Or we're saying those magic words, hey, Google, can you tell me this? Or hey, Siri, can you tell me this? And I don't know if you just heard my phone beep when I did that, because it is programmed to answer my question, right? When I go in, I'm trying to turn it off right now, and say, hey, I need you. So we look at Siri, Alexa, Google. We look at these things like they're people, trusted advisors that are telling us things to do. right? So understanding the process of a Google search or a Siri search is important. Search terms are very important. These are, according to Google, in a study they did at the end of 2017 into 2018, these are the most common ways that people start. So they go in here and they type near me, right? Daycare's near me. Best dentists near me. Checklists. We want checklists, especially if we know new car buying checklist. How to find a dentist checklist. The process to get a new driver's license. The process to buy a used car. The process to hire a fitness coach. We are looking for these things. And Google knows this because all of that information is worldwide to them. They know the top ways that we're looking. These are the top search terms in 2017, and they're only going to grow. They're only going to grow. We want this stuff. Pretty soon, near me is not even going to be a consideration because we automatically assume that Google and all the other search engines are just going to GPS locate us and say, okay, Maria's in Seal Beach, but Joe's in Manhattan. You know, somebody's in Detroit, somebody's in St. Louis, somebody's in a small town, you know, Ipswich, Massachusetts, little place. So we're going to assume that kind of stuff. So understanding how people find you through Google is critical to your overall business success. So when you look at the sheet, as we look at awareness, you can kind of see now the terms explained, right? What's the user behavior? What is it that they're looking for? Is it a problem? Is it a need? You want to define that. Who are your buyers? Who are they really? Sometimes we think it's just women. Really? Women generally? Or women 35 to 45? Women of color? All women. Women who have gray hair? Women who have children? Women who are married? Women who are not married? Women who own businesses? What? You have to really hone in very specifically on who it is that you're looking for. Because the more refined you can get, the more you'll understand what they need. And there's nothing wrong with defining and refining the type of customer that you have. It doesn't mean that you're not going to deal with women who are 25 to 35. It just means that you got to pick a lane and you have to start somewhere. So maybe you have 5 customer types and you're going to work as a team to collaborate on those 5. And so you're going to have 5 worksheets, 5 buyer's journey, because a 25-year-old does a different process than a 45-year-old. And a 55-year-old can be super digitally savvy or doesn't even know the terminology at all. They have a smartphone, but they only use it to play Candy Crush because that's what their grandchildren taught them to use. So you have to define that. That determines what they need. That need determines what you offer them in terms of content. And that content needs to contain key terms that places like Google, this is where your analytics come in. When are those people online? What is it they look for? What are the key terms that they're doing? And then you always want to have, see these little bubbles? You want to know what they're thinking. How are they feeling? How did they feel about finding you there? Is it uncomfortable? Is it difficult? Just because people need your services and just because they're having a bad experience along the way in finding you, and even if they decide on you, you may have the worst website in the world, but something pulled them over that edge. That's going to change if they advocate for you. So if the journey isn't wonderful, the customer service isn't there, if the website isn't easy to navigate, if the process isn't good, they're not going to leave you a recommendation. So if you have lots of people that are buying from you and you're like, I don't know, they never give me testimonials, and you have an idea of why that is, you know, it's private, this is information that people don't want to share. That's not true. It's probably somewhere along the line that they're not feeling love. They're not bonding to you as a company. And it all starts here. Make sense? So this was an important part of the buyer's journey. For those of you that know me, that have been on these calls, that I reflect. You have to reflect. It's a deep process. You cannot change unless you reflect on it, unless you really think it through. You don't just jump right onto the computer and make things happen and start posting. You have to think about who those people are, and you have to go through and you have to start with, how do our customers find us? Because by asking and reflecting on that question, you're going to learn what they think, what they feel, what they need. How do they find you? Right? It used to be they found you in the yellow pages. It was such an easy process, right? So the question might have been, how does a customer in that city find me? Because back in the day when you advertised in yellow pages, you were only in one book. You had to pay to be in multiple books, and that could be very, very expensive. So the challenge today is you can get people from anywhere in the world, but the question is, how are they finding you? You need to reflect on that, and then you need to go back to that worksheet and you need to fill out those questions with your team, because that's really essential. So the reflection process is always critical to everything. I also have weekly goals. So we're wrapping up here. And so I just want to go through them again, because people just don't do these. They're not doing them. How many new emails did you add to your list this week? Critical. If you didn't add any, that's a problem. You need to say to your sales force, well, why didn't we add any new? What's the process for that? Who's adding them? Why isn't it on the contact list? What's the process to do that? What were your total sales for the week? Now, you don't need to break it down to the finest number that you would give to your accountant, but everyone in your company should know what is selling. Maybe not that you sold 5, but what did we sell last week? And what didn't we sell? These are important things. Did every employee know about your promotions and your Facebook ads? How many are shaking their head like, I don't know, right? How many new fans did you add? So if you had 100 people on Instagram, how many people do you have now following you? This is important. These are the numbers that help you in that awareness column, because this is how they're finding you. So if you're not adding people to these types of digital lists, then you have an awareness problem. And if you have an awareness problem, you're not going to get a buyer. It's going to take a long time. What was your most popular piece of content this week? Critical information. It's important for everyone to know. It's important for everyone to know because it tells you if you're doing the right thing or the wrong thing. And if you could look at last year, and last year you had so many people liking your content, and this year not everybody's liking your content, maybe it's the content. Is it the same? You look at it and you say, well, it's the same information. Well, is it the pictures you're using? Is it the fonts you're using? What happened? What changed to make people like or not like it? And you need to have goals. That's what analytics do. Who is your most engaged follower? Very important that you know those things. That's part of customer service. Are you treating them? Are you reaching out to them? Are you thanking them? This is advocacy, engagement. When they share your post, they are letting people know that you like them. I love this dentist, and look at this great thing he posted, right? I'm sharing it with my peeps, the people that are the closest to me. How are you improving your customer service? In March, I'm going to start customer service training. It's critical. We have lost it. We assume that the whole digital world is going to take care of our customer service. And for anyone on this call who has dialed a company on the phone and been put on hold and transferred, and then gotten some overseas customer service person who you can barely understand, we know that there's a customer service problem with large and small companies. It might save you money to outsource that stuff, but it's not really helping you to get what you need in the digital economy. So it's really, really important that you review that. I don't know why this isn't clicking. I'm just having all sorts of problems today. Anyway, that was the last question of the week. Next week, we're going to go to the next module, the sort of research and consideration aspect of the buyer's journey. I've had a lot of people reach out to me, and I thank you so much for being on this call. My goal is to help everybody all the time, but of course, I'm in business, and I want to help your small business to grow and go into this into detail for you. So, any listener who's on the call, and I know who comes to the calls, if you work with me and you do the monthly training that goes through these things very much in detail for your specific company, you do get 1 month free, and that's really awesome. And you can just email me at Maria@Design Bear Marketing, or call me 857-998-8858, and that's a texting number too, and we could talk about what that process is. So next week we will continue the journey, and I want to thank everybody for being on the call, and I look forward to hearing from you next week.